Rabbi Asaf Prisman on the Parsha. This week for Shavuos, human sacrifice.
Shalom to everyone. As we are quickly approaching the Heilige Chag of Shavuos, Chag Matan Torah, I would like to share with you a very nice idea that I heard from my good friend, Rabbi Ariel Melamed, from our kollel, that he spoke about this topic, and I want to add to it and I want to share it with you. So, Kedarkeinu B'Kodesh, I would like to start off with a couple of questions about Shavuos. Question number one: obviously, there's a relationship, a kesher, a connection between Megillas Rus and Chag Shavuos. So, what is that kesher? Keep in mind that we know what was unique about Rus is that she was a Gioret, and also that in Megillas Rus we see the underlying theme of mitzvahs yibum. There's many remazim, hints to mitzvahs yibum. What does it have to do with Shavuos? What does it have to do with Megillas Rus? Why is it related? And of course we all know that from Rus came David HaMelech. What did she do exactly that she was zoichet to have David HaMelech come from her generations, from her offspring? So I would like to share with you a famous Midrash Tanchuma, probably one of the most famous Midrash Tanchuma around. The Midrash Tanchuma can be found in Parshas Noach, and he goes on to explain and answer a very basic question that we know that when all of Bnei Israel were there next to Har Sinai. So on the one hand, we all know that Bnei Israel said, Naseh v'nishma, when Hashem asked them, do you want the Torah? And they said, of course, no matter what, we'll do it. And then we'll try to figure out and understand it better. But of course, straight away. On the other hand, we know the Midrash tells us, Kafa alehem har kegigis. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, you better accept the Torah. If not, I'm taking right now this mountain, I'm going to flip it over on top of your heads. What do you mean? I thought Bnei Israel said, Naseh v'nishma, they'll happily accept it without asking any questions. And they'll later try to deepen their ideas and connect to the Torah after that they said by the word nishma. So what's happening over here? So the answer the Midrash Tanchuma gives is, they said Naseh v'nishma when it came to the Torah shebichtav. But Torah shebe'al peh, indeed, they needed a type of someone to push them so they'll have some self-sacrifice in accepting the Torah. That's what the Midrash Tanchuma says. So we would like to suggest that the reason that was so imperative to happen is because there's an element of self-sacrifice that is required to connect to the Torah. And that is really what the Midrash Tanchuma says over there. He brings the pasuk, Adam ki amus be'oel. A person has to be willing to give everything he has out of himself in order to connect to the Torah, whatever it takes, as the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos says. Even if it means if he has no food, he's willing to do anything he can. He'll even be willing, not that he has to do this, it's not a prerequisite, but he has to be willing to get to a point where if he had to choose between just eating bread and salt and nothing else so that he can learn, in his heart he should be on that level to be able to do that. Not that he has to do that physically, but if it were to come to that situation, if he'll get to that level, he'll be able to be perfectly compatible with the Torah, which is an avodah. It's not so easy, but if a person really loves the Torah and really realizes what it's all about, then he'll be a kli kibul, a vessel that he'll be able to connect and be compatible with the Torah. Now this theme is what Rus is all about. In Megillat Rut, we see in Perek Aleph, it says that when Naomi was telling them, okay, you girls, you Rus and Orpah, your husbands died, just stay, you don't have to come with me. What are you going to do with me? You're too old to find another husband with me. It's better off that you stay here. So at the beginning, they both said, no, we want to come with you, etc., etc. But the only one that went to an extreme and to self-sacrifice, she reached that level and she said, no matter what, wherever you're going to go, I'm going to go with you. Wherever you're going to die, I'm going to go with you. I'm going to die there also, no matter what. That was Rus. she was willing to be you could see the self-sacrifice was screaming out from her. Aside from the fact she already converted and she was misgayer and all that, she still wanted to go to give everything she has because she realized what a special person Naomi is, and she wanted to stick to her and to be with her and help her and do chesed with her. And she said, no matter what, I am going with you. And it's only at that point, Perik Aleph Pasuk Yud Ches, where Naomi realized, okay, she's possessing this level of self-sacrifice. There's nothing I can do. She's going to come with me whether I like it or not. And that's when it says, Vatere ki mitametzet hi lalechet ita. And then she stopped talking to her. Vatechdal ledaber eleh. She stopped trying to convince her not to come. This incredible midah of self-sacrifice to do the right thing, Rus, obviously in her spiritual DNA, gave it off to her offsprings. And that eventually came to David HaMelech. It's interesting, if you learn the Navi, Shmuel, you'll realize that it almost sounds like David HaMelech became the king, and Shmuel felt it was a b'di'evedik thing. It wasn't the best. The best king was Shaul. But then, Nebuch, because Bnei Israel sinned, they didn't really deserve the best king, so they got David HaMelech. That screams out from the story as you see that Shmuel comes to Yishai, David's father, and he says, okay, one of your kings is now going to be appointed as a new king, one of your kids, so show me all your kids. And he gave, even Yishai didn't think he was going to be David. He gave all the more prestigious sons. And Shmuel said, wait, you must have another son, because it's not any one of the sons you showed me. So which one is it? No, there's one more. He's a shepherd all the way. Everyone makes fun of him. He's a mockery to... But at the end of the day, it was him. So Shmuel felt also, okay, if that's what Hashem wants, but it sounds like Bnei Israel didn't deserve a better king. But eventually, scene after scene, and after Shmuel gets to know David better, it screams out that David HaMelech possessed this unbelievable midah of self-sacrifice. And no matter what he went through, despite what he went through in life, it was a lot, especially with Shaul running after him all the time, etc., etc. And there's a lot of other things that he went through, nisyonos, that he went through. Still, at the end of the day, he showed the self-sacrifice to do everything he can, to always be happy, no matter what. That screams out from Tehillim, and he wanted to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And the epitome, the scene that screams this out the most, the epitome of this was the scene where he comes to give his brothers food, and Goliath is over there, laughing at everyone, and he's huge, and David was nothing compared to Goliath, but he said, no, for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, this is crazy, this is a disgrace to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm going and fighting, I don't care what. And he went, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him the Siyata Dishmaya. So this midah of self-sacrifice came of mitametzet. The one word in Megillas Rus that my Rebbe always said, that is the key word in the whole Megillah, mitametzet, which represents that she kept going for it. She was willing to go to extremes, self-sacrifice herself to do the right thing. That is what David HaMelech got from her. And that is what we need as a prerequisite to be compatible with the Torah. And that's why all this is what it's all about, getting ourselves ready. Now, a couple of days before Shavuos, and showing HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we realize what a present He gave us, this unbelievable oitzel, the Torah HaKadoshah, and that we're willing to do everything it takes to ensure we learn Torah, and we connect to Torah, and we support Torah, and we connect to Torah in any way, shape, or form that we have the ability to do so. Memele, we can add another touch over here and say another perspective, that also mitzvahs yibum, for those of you who learn Daf Yomi, mitzvahs yibum, that the Torah says that a person should lehakim zera leachiv, that if his brother passes, a person's brother passes away, let's say Reuven and Shimon are brothers, Reuven passes away and his wife is alone now and they don't have kids, so there's a very big mitzvah that the brother, let's say Shimon is Reuven's brother, should marry this woman. Why? To continue, it's in a way it's continuing the brother. Lehakim zera leachiv. And that, whoever learned Daf Yomi in Yevamos now, remembers there's an opinion out there called Abba Shaul, and this is mamash brought down la halacha. Because if you are wondering, how come I don't know anyone that has done this amazing, incredible mitzvah of Yibum, the answer is the following. Because there's an opinion called Abba Shaul. Abba Shaul says, you better be careful. This mitzvah Yibum is huge. But if you do it with the wrong intentions, and you go with this woman who used to be your brother's wife, and you marry her for the wrong reason, and you're meyabim her for the wrong reasons, because whatever the reason is, then the kids that are going to come out of that marriage are almost like ke mamzerim. And that Chazal said, oh, that's why we prefer you not to do Yibum, and you take the second option of doing Chalitza. Why? Because it seems like, and this is what my friend wanted in Mechadish, that Yibum, the act of Yibum, of being with another, marrying a woman just for the sake of giving a continuation to your brother, that in itself screams out self-sacrifice. To be able to do that, and for the right reason, really the ideal form of doing that is a huge act of self-sacrifice, and also of chesed shel emet, which is what Ruth possessed, both those attributes. Because a person totally doesn't care about anything. The only thing he cares about is to continue the zera of his brother. That's an amazing idea, the theme of self-sacrificing oneself for the other, for the brother. I want to add to this another nakuda which we mentioned in previous times, and that is, especially in our generation, but also in the past, a lot of people make the mistake that when they want to achieve true happiness, and when I say true happiness, we have to define it. So I'll define it as something that's an everlasting happiness, an inner peace, an inner happiness. How do you get that? So a lot of people think, how do you get that? You look for it in the world of pleasures, of hanaot, of going to an amazing trip to Hawaii, to go and play basketball, whatever. Anything like that, people say, that's amazing, that's geschmack, that gives me a good feeling. But at the end of the day, it's just a feeling, and it dissipates very quickly. True simcha that stays forever is not in the world of hanaot, of pleasures, but rather in the world of self-sacrifice, of amal. In my opinion, that's also why amal Torah is such an important ingredient in connecting to the Torah, because when you have amal Torah, you work hard and you connect to the Torah, it stays with you forever. Why? Because it's you. You've invested yourself into that. And that's why that's what ahava is all about. True love is when you give. It comes from the word in Hebrew, in Lashon HaKodesh. Ahava comes from the word hav, to give. The more you give, the more invest yourself in something, the more you see yourself there, the more you connect it. And that is also something that this self-sacrifice midah does to one. The more you put yourself into something, you connect it. And that's why it makes so much sense that it's a prerequisite to connect to the Torah. Because when you're willing to self-sacrifice for the Torah, you're putting in hours, you're putting in time of thinking, supporting Torah, whatever it is, that binds you to Torah in an amazing way that will last forever. Similar to the Dvar Torah we said last week, when it comes to that, when you do it out of love, how do you do something out of love? You connect it. You understand why Hashem is telling us to do this. Ta'amei HaMitzvahs, you also connect it. It becomes more you. You see yourself in the whole parsha, and Mimele, you connect it for the long term. Yiratzon will be able to reach this level and ponder about these things. Where are we holding exactly? How close are we to the Torah? Are we really revolving our days and our lives and our families around being connected to the Torah, willing to be putting self-sacrifice to get closer to Hashem? That's what, at the end of the day, that is what we're here for. That is what life is all about. I would like to end with a story. I have several stories, but one story that I said before, but it's a story that I think fits this idea of self-sacrifice perfectly, is when once there was an important trip. A lot of the Gedolei Adoir from Eretz Yisrael went on a trip, and they got stuck somewhere on the outskirts of Russia, and it happened to be Yom Kippur. So, okay, they davened together, very nice. The only people that were local were elderly people. And then they come to the epitome of Yom Kippur, which we all know is Ne'ilah, Tfilas Ne'ilah. Tfilas Neila is coming up, and so all the Gedolei Ador, the big Rabbanim, are asking, maybe you should daven, no, I think you should daven. And then suddenly, out of left field, as they say, comes this elderly person and says, I really think, you see that person in the corner over there? I really think he should be davening. So they said, why should he be davening? So they said, you know how much he went through in life? They tortured him. You can see, ask him to lift his shirt and see how many scratches he has, how much he was whipped. And yet, he stayed ne'eman loyal to HaKadosh Baruch Hu no matter what. So, the Gedolei Ador said, you know, Taka, if that's what he went through and is still such a God-fearing Jew, of course he should daven for us for Ne'ilah. So they asked him to lead them for Ne'ilah. So he comes to the Amud where the Chazan stands, and he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what do we live life for? What do we live? For Chaye Banei Mezoinei. Banei, you know we have no kids. We're too old to have kids, so we can't daven for that. Mezoinei, let's be honest, all the food we get is from the Russian people over here. That's all we're dependent on. We can't. There's no room to ask for food. What we have is what we get, and that's it. Chaye, this is life. What we have, this is life. There's only one thing we have left to ask for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he starts by saying Iskadal v'Iskadash Shemei Rabbah, which obviously translates to all we want HaKadosh Baruch Hu is your name to be sanctified, to be kadosh, Yiratzon, that we'll be able to live that idea of all we want is to get close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu no matter what, and do His Ratzon and connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Torah. Like we know, the Midrash says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Torah and Am Yisrael are all one. We should all be binded together one. Yiratzon will be able to take this idea and really do whatever it takes to self-sacrifice and connect HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Torah, and with that we'll be able to reach new heights in Yirtzeh Hashem in this upcoming Shavuos. Have a good Shavuos and
Rabbi Asaf Prisman on the Parsha for Shavuos 2022. Please visit our website, prismanoftorah.com. Please share with your family and friends past over the words of this Dvar Torah podcast. Any feedback, please feel free to send it into prismanoftorah@gmail.com. Thank you, Yonovefa, for help with your recording devices for this week. Technical support for this podcast was done for free by Eli Podcast Production, lineage Maslei Bas Yona. Have a good Yom Tov and a good Shabbos. Don't forget to visit prismanoftorah.com.